What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so this is not unexpected, although it's breaking news. There were some rumblings about this uh, going down later on this week, as early as I think Sunday or Monday. So, RFK Jr., the son of the beloved former senator, the late Bobby Kennedy, senator from New York, former attorney general in the Kennedy administration, and 1968 presidential candidate who unfortunately was assassinated in Los Angeles after the Democratic primary in that state. But anyway, he is officially suspending his presidential campaign, not ending it, but suspending it. The difference is he's not going to request that his name be removed from the ballot of most states. Only in important critical swing states will he remove his name from the ballot. So I believe if you're like a resident of Arizona, I would say Georgia or Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. I don't know about Minnesota. Um, I don't think that's a state anymore. That's in the swing column. But pretty much those states. Uh, he's going to remove his name from the ballot in those states. And the reason why is because he doesn't want to hurt Donald Trump. He doesn't want to hurt Donald Trump on the ballot. Now, he's come out and endorsed Trump, endorsed him for president. So what has happened is this. This is basically what I guess has happened. RFK Jr. was a longtime Democrat, but he's fallen out of. He feels that the Democratic Party no longer represents his values or viewpoints. So he ran as an independent. And with the old makeup of how things were when Trump was going against Biden, the polling showed that he was hurting Biden more than Trump. But something has happened. Ever since Kamala got into the race, her base is a little bit different from Biden's, to the point now where the polling is indicating that, if anything, RFK Jr. is now hurting Trump more than he is Kamala. Also, the left-wing media, which I've told you for years and years, the overwhelming majority of the media is left-wing. There was an estimate recently where 84% of the press coverage has been favorable for Kamala. And those 84% represent left-leaning media outlets. That's just how it is. It goes back all the way to the 1950s and 60s, really the 60s. The media has progressively become more and more left-leaning. Some of them don't mean any harm. Some of them try to be objective, but their viewpoints sometimes color their coverage. Some outlets, especially on social media, they're partisan and they're very, very liberal and very, very progressive and make no qualms about showing their bias for the Democrats. Then again, there's a minority that are right-leaning, conservative, and they do the same thing for Trump. The difference is their numbers are small, far smaller than the liberal-leaning media. But anyway, they shut RFK Jr. out. They shut him out as far as covering him, to the point now where his polling. Remember, this was a guy earlier this year, in some polls, was polling at 20%. Now, in most polls, he's around maybe 3%, 3 to 4%. And with his declining popularity as far as voters, and the fact that right, he wants to hurt the Democrats. he right now is trying to position himself. Look, let me say this: is some of this genuine, authentic on his part? Yeah, some of it is, but make no mistake about it. In my opinion, RFK Jr. is being selfish and self-centered and looking for his own self-interest. I'll tell you why. For a man that professes to be totally against Democrats, it was reported last week that he approached the Harris campaign that if he dropped out, he would endorse her if she promised to give him a cabinet position. The Harris campaign, I guess she told her people to tell him no. Now, all of a sudden, I guess what happened is, although this wasn't reported, I'm assuming he approached the Trump people. They recognize the polling is, while he's definitely, not out of it, it's been a bad month. He's had some slippage. So he sees that as a plus for him, Trump. So he probably said, yeah, if you endorse me, I'll give you a cabinet position or some type of position. So that's the little bargain they have. Now, he has come out and endorsed Trump, although CNN's trying to spin it like, whatever. Will this make a difference? Well, look, this ain't a seismic thing. This is, it's not like this. He's Ross Perot in '92, or even George Wallace in '68, or Teddy Roosevelt in 1912. Like, can he affect the race by throwing his support behind Trump? Well, I'll put it like this: as close as some of these swing states will be, possibly. In particular, states like Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Yeah, he could. He could. Because remember, even though Joe Biden polls, 7 million more votes than Trump in 2020, if you just switched out about 50,000 votes, I think it's 54,000 votes in Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, if you just switched 54,000 votes and have those collective aggregate total of Biden voters switch to Trump, Trump would have won the Electoral College, even though he would have still lost by almost 7 million votes. So that's why I said these contests don't really pay attention to the national polling. Look at the state by state races, in particular the swing states. Because look, Trump and Harris are going to win 20 states each. It's going to come down to about 6 or 7 swing states are going to decide this election. So, like I said, does it have an impact? Maybe a little bit, a little. And also, this is Trump throwing a middle finger to the Democrats, taking a little bit of steam away from their convention. Timing it right after Kamala gives her acceptance speech at the convention. Like I said, will this have any impact? A little bit. But I think what's more important, if you're a Trump supporter, what's more important is for him to get back on track. I know that a lot of people don't have empathy for Trump, but remember, this is a man that was nearly taken out on July 13th. He was nearly taken out. Okay, you can't. That's definitely going to have some effect on him mentally. He's probably been a little gun shy about doing an event. I've seen reports J.D. Vance is getting a little irritated at him because, J.D. Vance was doing events, but Trump wasn't. I think that's partially because he's suffered some post-traumatic stress situation from the attempt. But I think what Trump has to do, as I said before, take this endorsement, get back on issues and hammer Kamala and tie her to Biden, who's still unpopular. Don't let them get away with that. She's the vice president. Okay? She's culpable too. She's in this administration. Don't let her just try to be her own woman. And no. Bush didn't do that. Remember, Bush in 2000, one of the reasons why he was successful, he made sure he kept hammering home. He stayed on message. In 2000, he attached Al Gore to Bill Clinton on the negative. Whereas Al Gore stupidly kept trying to be his own man, but it didn't work because remember, Clinton, even though he was a popular president, he was not an admired man. And there was people that was tired of Clinton at that point, right? You know what I'm saying? Remember, there was Clinton fatigue syndrome. This is a man that survived impeachment, but was stained from it. And Gore tried to run away from Clinton, but a lot of his supporters didn't like that because, you know, his supporters like Clinton. I'm talking about Clinton supporters. And to see Gore try to run away from it because he didn't want to be stained by Clinton, okay, his supporters didn't like that. Gore, you don't have a base like that. He didn't want to campaign with Clinton. But Bush, on the other hand, much to the relish of the Clinton haters, kept tying Al Gore to all the negative things, the scandals. You know, remember Whitewater, even though Gore didn't have anything to do with that. Remember the situation in '96. What was it? The campaign, the Chinese campaign scandal, where supposedly they were renting out rooms in the White House to contributors. You know, the media try to put that on the lid. You know, put that down on the hush. That's illegal. Remember, of course, Monica. Bush did that, and he was able to win a very, very, very close race. So yeah, Trump need to get back on message, bro, and just attack them. Attack them on the bullshit that's not popular. Talk about the economy. Talk about the border issues. Talk about national security. Bring up anything that's unpopular and tied to his administration. But all these personal attacks, DEI hire, talking about race, talking about abortion, those are loser arguments, and you're gonna fucking lose. If you're Kamala, keep doing what you're doing. What can I say? Keep doing what's working. But eventually, I will say this, as Americans begin to pay more and more attention to this race, as September rolls along in October, they're going to have to get her out there and do some interviews because she can't just be behind a podium and just attack Donald Trump. You know, the media will try to get her to do that, but nah. She's gonna have to be a little bit more open and do interviews because what they're gonna do when she's president? When she's dealing with the media as far as press conferences. She's just gonna stop doing them. But anyway, and that's if she gets elected. But anyway, that's how I feel about this, man. Like I said, will this have an effect? It could, possibly. An election is close, it could. But tell me what you guys think.